What's up guys, it's Lonely MMA, and today we're going to be doing the top 5 fighters who have gained the most aura recently. Now for this one, I'm not going to go with obvious fighters who have just been slowly gaining aura over the past few years, like someone like Ilia Topuria I'm not going to put on this list. I'm more so going to be going with the fighters who probably had the same amount of aura as me at the start of this or last year, but now they're at the point where they can't even walk into a coffee shop without some random pedestrian coming up to them and asking them if they can sign their for them. Without further ado, let's get right into this one, fellas. So at number 5, I've got Arman Tsarukyan. Now the thing about Arman is, right now he sort of has like this mysterious aura around him. Because the dude has went from someone who really a lot of people only knew him from the Oliveira fight. That was the first like big card fight that he was on. Like a lot of my casual friends that watch the UFC, that's like the only fight they knew of him. And I know he did main event a few fight nights before that, but I'm talking like that was the first time he fought like an actual really big name in the sport. And even then, that was over 2 years ago at UFC 300. And a lot of my friends, like, they see this dude doing all of this streaming and stuff because he has absolutely took himself to be one of the biggest fighters in the UFC now, all because of those streams that he appears on. So like, casual people will always be like, yeah, when is this dude fighting? Like, I see him on all these live streams as a UFC fighter, but he's never fighting. Like, what is he doing? Because even since the Dan Hooker fight that took place in November, he has probably doubled his popularity in that span of time to now. Then when you do see clips of him fighting though, it's him just absolutely mauling people, knocking out Dariush in the first like 2 minutes of their fight and absolutely destroying Dan Hooker. And you also get that Gamrot loss in there though a few years ago. That was just a funky fight though. And obviously the Oliveira win, but also you do gotta explain to someone who just found out about Arman Tsarukyan why he hasn't fought for a belt yet, because there is a big asterisk next to his name on why he hasn't. And that is due to the UFC 311 incident, which he pulled out a day before the fight. So obviously the UFC is like, this, we can't trust this dude, practically ruining a pay-per-view. But all that kind of stuff aside, I think due to the streaming and all the stuff he's doing with RAF, which by the way, I gotta say, RAF actually is pretty sick. I don't watch it, but like all the hype around it and building up the fights is pretty cool, I think. But with all that stuff in the mix, I think Tsarukyan's aura has went up quite a bit since he last fought, and I think there's rumors that he might fight for the BMF belt in September against Oliveira, which that would be a pretty good fight, especially now that it's going to be 5 rounds. And I really do hope that someday we can get the Ilia Topuria fight, because I really do think that would be one of the most skilled fights in a long time. Next up though, this one's more of just a singular fight gained this dude all of his aura, and that's Carlos Alberg. A lot of people don't like to admit it because it came against Yuri Prochazka, but him going out there and completely destroying his knee in the first minute of the fight, having the mobility of a fucking fat woman in a grocery store, and still continuing the fight and catching Yuri and putting him out, has to be one of the coldest moments in UFC history. And like, I'm a huge Yuri Prochazka fan, but I still feel like not enough people give Carlos Alberg his credit just because they all like to blame it on, oh, Yuri was just being stupid and got caught. It's like, yeah, two things can be true at once. Maybe that is true. Yuri actually might be the fucking dumbest dude I've ever seen doing that bullshit. I had some money on him that night. Still not over that. But still my boy at the end of the day. But like I was saying, two things can be true at once. Yeah, Yuri was dumb, but also, yeah, Carlos Alberg is an absolute fucking warrior for continuing the fight. Like, I swear to God, if Alex Pereira did that in one of the Yuri fights, you would probably still see his face fucking projected onto the Empire State Building to this day. At number 3 though for me is gonna be Quillian Selkild. Now this dude, he's just an aura machine all around. Like, if I had a girlfriend, this is one dude I certainly would not want her to be around. And just look at his most recent Instagram post. What a G. It's almost like you can just forget that this guy fights too, because he does very well. I mean, in his last fight, he slimed out Benny, although Benny did drop him early, but my boy came back to win it. And also, beating on Benny in the Lord's year of 2026 is like beating on an elderly pedestrian. But I definitely think what's next for this guy is maybe a Fiziev fight, which I think he could definitely win, or maybe even a Patty BSD loser fight. Moving on to number 2 though, this is a more recent one that I just had to throw on this list after watching it this past weekend, but it's Sergey Pavlovich. Because going into this fight, everyone was like, oh, he's so gun shy ever since the Aspinall loss. He's lost his touch, he's lost his hunger, his killer instinct that he once had when he was knocking out everybody. And then he gets this fight with Taliesin Teixeira, and a lot of people think it's going to be a similar outcome. But no, my boy goes out there swinging in the first 30 seconds, puts him out cold. And now I do think a lot more people give Talison Teixeira a bad rap just because of the Derek Lewis loss and his last fight against Tai Tuivasa. But I honestly still really do think he's a tricky customer that will stay around in the heavyweight division for a while because he is pretty young and he has a good build for heavyweight. He just has no gas tank whatsoever. But this isn't about Teixeira, fuck him. This is about Pavlovich, and my boy, he is so back. We are all so back. Just please, after Josh Hokett goes out there and slimes out Derek Lewis on the White House lawn, just book the Sergey Pavlovich versus Josh Hokett fight next, for the love of God. That will be cinema, but knowing the UFC, we'll probably get like Pavlovich versus Volkov too. Lastly though, at number 1, I got Sean Strickland. I mean, how can you not put him here? Because this dude has gained so much aura over his past 2 fights. Like, being a Strickland fan after the Dreykus loss the second time was a real tough time, because the fight before the Dreykus rematch too was against Costa, and it was a fight that was so boring. And at that time, that was really the narrative around Sean Strickland, that he's just a boring fighter. Then, as we all know, he got the fight against Fluffy, goes out there, knocks him out in the 3rd round, absolutely destroys him. Then recently, last month in May, he beats Hamzat for the belt in a fight that he was talking so much shit in the build-up to. And it was honestly, I think, really one of the only times I've seen someone who was that big of an underdog talk so much shit and then go out and win the fight. Because it was just like, not only did he pull off one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, he also talked so much shit beforehand and really backed it up. Now, I know they were cool, like, right when the fight started, but before that, there was a lot of shit talking. And now I think he's probably going to go out there and fight Nasruddin, and that fight's really looking like it's going to get heated, sort of like the Hamzat one did, because Nasruddin has been posting a lot of stuff on Twitter about Strickland. So that one should be pretty entertaining, and I could very well see Strickland winning that because he already did before. But they also could go with the Hamzat immediate rematch, and I don't know why, but I really do feel like Strickland would lose if they did rematch. Though, I think that's going to do it for this one. As always, let me know down below in the comments your top 5 fighters who have gained the most aura recently, and I will see you guys in the next one.